Welcome back to the Painted City, y'all. This is Paula.
Hi, everyone, and this is Patricia. We are so excited with our next guest, Marsha DeBroske. Marsha DeBroske is an Orlando based artist. She specializes in sculpture, she's a painter, she's an arts advocate, she's an environmental activist as well. Hi, Marsha.
Hi, I thank you both for having me today.
We've been anticipating this for a while, so, right, Paula?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm very excited to have you. Thank you for coming. And I've seen your work and I've seen you around, so to actually get to sit face to face and talk about all you do is very exciting to me.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, so, gosh, where do we start? We could start from the beginning, right? How we first met.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I believe we met at the Grand Bohemian Gallery. We were both in sales, and I really went so I could learn what the gallery did when you sold art there.
Yeah, same.
And then we started to talk, and you wanted to do more with your art. So I brought you over to Creolde and to Maitland, and then you made your decision of what to do.
That was an easy decision to head over to Creolde, and that's where you also taught.
Yes, yes. And then you joined me later on, and we had classrooms right next to each other.
Yes.
So that was fun.
That was really fun. Yeah, we taught next door to each other for quite
Many
a few years.
years, yes, yes.
And you also did the outreach program
Yes, at Winter Garden.
in Winter Garden at the Maxey Community Center, and I
Yes.
kind of inherited that from you as well.
Exactly, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was fun times, yeah. We did a lot during that period of art and explored a lot of avenues. One thing that you helped me with was Odi Pagodi, the book, the paintings and the literature on it, and you helped me through some of the difficult periods of it.
Oh, that was a pleasure. That was so fun. Since we mentioned your children's book, and we can go back and highlight. I know this could be like a 5-hour podcast with everything that we know about each other, what we've done together throughout the years. But do you want to talk a little bit about Odi Pagodi? That'd be amazing for our listeners to hear.
Odi Pagodi, I made a bronze goat. And I have to say that was one of the most joyous periods of my life. And I don't know why. I was just in a creative. I did so many bronze, and because we cast them at Creolde, it was inexpensive. So I just did a lot of work, and Odi Pagodi was one of those pieces that I had made in 2004. And I remember in ninth grade going to the Museum of Modern Art in New York. I was only a bus and a subway away, and walking up the stairs, and the first thing I ever saw was like Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night. Then I went, and it was on loan, of course, and then I went to the sculpture garden, and it was Picasso's She-Goat. And I just fell in love with that goat. So I think from somewhere in my inner depth, Odi Pagodi became alive. So Odi Pagodi, I thought it's bronze, and children, can't play with it or anything. So I made a plush Odi Pagodi, and I wrote a book about Odi Pagodi. And my mother, who had Alzheimer's, she wasn't that bad at that point, but she actually helped me roll the wax out and make Odi. So the book is kind of like that, and then how Odi goes from one museum to an art center, and some of these places are no longer here in Orlando. So it's kind of funny when you read through it. And it's that kind of book, but he comes alive at night, and he dances and plays with all the other sculptures. So I got invited by my school that I taught at 25 years, but I came to Florida, and they invited me back for the children to read the book and also talk to me about doing sculpture.
That was amazing. And this is pre-Night at the Museum. I told Marsha, I said, this could be a movie. Your
Yes,
book,
yes.
and wouldn't you know?
Yeah,
Not
somebody
long-
picked it up, right?
Somebody picked it up. But that's an amazing book. I have an autographed copy. So
Yes, yes. And the thing is, I didn't know how to sew. I just looked at Odi and came up with 3 different pieces and just sewed them together. But I have to say it went fast because my mother helped me sew also. And but now I think I'm at 851 Odies since hand sewn since 2004.
Wow.
And I forget how many books. And I wrote another book for Odie. He went to Thomasville, Georgia, because I have a friend there, and I was in the art center. And they did a big thing about him. We had T-shirts, we had bags, and I think we had Odie Pagodi totes or something. Mm-hmm. And it was amazing, you know. In that book, he left with deer light, and they got in trouble with the police. So,
no, I remember that. Yes, and also we were just reminiscing about the book signing that you had, and that was at Borders.
Yeah, up in Ultima Springs.
And our lovely Paula here worked there. She could have been there at the opening.
Oh my gosh, it was 2004.
I started in Altamont Springs Borders, and then I ended up in Oviedo, where I met my amazing husband of over 21 years.
Wow.
In the Oviedo Borders. And so I started at the Borders in 97.
Okay.
90, yeah. And I stayed with Borders until it closed.
Wow.
I mean, as a pool person, so I would come in like once every month or 2 or 3 and be like, okay, I need my discount. I need my fix. Where do you want me to shelf? Do you want me to pull returns?
Wow. Yes, they were very good to me. They actually put my book on the bookshelf. So it stayed there for a while, and it was a good experience.
And now I know why Odie Bagodi sounds familiar with me.
There you go, yes.
When I started off in Altamont, I actually started off in the kids department. So I did my first bit of time in the kids department. And I wore numerous costumes for story time. Just saying. I've worn a lot of those costumes for story time.
Your paths probably crossed.
Crossed at some point, right?
I bet they did. Well, that's great. I definitely wanted to bring that into the conversation.
Well, especially because I remember being at your house and showing you and talking about it. And then our friend who you interviewed, you guys, Cheryl, she actually put it together and sent it to the publisher. Mm-hmm. So it definitely is a small world, you know.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike, my husband, and I still have our Chronos cards from the check-in. We still have different incarnations of our Borders badges. I still have like a Borders mouse pad. I still have Borders t-shirts.
I petition it comes back. I miss
I
Borders.
Yes.
There's a really good book. So the closing of Borders was kind of the saddest thing for my husband and I, because you watch in and they're tearing down the stores and they're selling the books and everything. There's a book written by somebody who works at Borders, and I don't remember the name, but it's called Sold Everywhere But Borders, and it's about the end of the Borders, someone writing about that, because it was going to be sold everywhere but Borders.
And don't get us wrong, we absolutely love local and indie bookstores, for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
But there was just something local about Borders, right?
Oh, yeah, and I'm going to say for me, I really liked it. I moved to Borders. I had worked at other bookstores. I had worked at Barnes & Noble's, and I liked Borders because it was kind of hippy-dippy, and I will be completely honest, I could wear jeans.
Oh, nice.
Because at Barnes & Noble, we had to dress up. So walking into Borders, where I'm like, I can show up in jeans and a T-shirt, and I can just talk books. I can just sell books.
And I have to say, when I was listening to you guys talking about creativity and stuff, and you guys were mentioning you guys, both of you, are so well read. And I was just like, oh my gosh, these people really are reading, you know? I'm like,
Nerds.
No, I think that's fantastic, you know?
There's so much more to read, really. I mean,
there's so many books.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's an obsession. I mean,
Oh, no, I'm fully aware of it being an obsession. Like, my husband and I have an app where we scan every book we bring in the house so that we can double check. Because there was a running joke. He's bought the book Krakatoa 3 different times because he didn't think he had it. So we actually have the whole thing, because our house is a giant, like, we have 16 bookshelves.
Oh, wow.
Because, I started working at bookstores gosh, shortly after high school. And, you get promotional books, you travel, you get books when people come and sign, you talk books, you exchange books. Our lovely Sir Charles has found out that Sold Everywhere But Borders is written by Rebecca Vanderyacht.
Wow, okay.
We should check to see if there's a documentary on that. Because whenever you have a book like that, there's going to be a documentary.
Yeah, I don't
Research department's looking. Thank you, Sir Charles.
So one of the interesting things that I found is when Borders closed, we had, of course, a party because a lot of bookstores, one another. And we had kind of the closing party, and we went around the room, and everyone said how long they had worked at bookstores. And just in that room with such a small amount of us, so it wasn't like everyone, we had something like 550 years worth of bookstore experience.
Wow, that's fantastic. And it's kind of sad because, like myself, I'm on my phone reading a book, but there's something tactile and the smell to a book that, you really do miss. I never thought that I would go on my phone and do it, but I have. I'm probably because of COVID, because COVID changed everything and every way we do things and deal with things. So
no, don't feel bad. I think we all do that. I do that. I still read online, but like you said, I love that tactile feel. If somebody asks me what's one of your favorite smells in the world, besides candles, because I love candles too, it's entering into a bookstore that has coffee, like a coffee shop bookstore. That smell is like none other. Like, right, Paula?
No. And I agree with you all. There's something quick and easy. I think my love of books, and I was raised with such a love of books. I'm in a book group now, and a lot of them read them offline, and I'm like, I need the book. Like, I need the book. I need to put my hands on it. It's something grounding to me.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. Well, I was afraid because a couple of my friends sell bookmarks and stuff, and I'm like, you're going to sell bookmarks? Like, who reads books? I mean, who actually gets real books now? But they did really well. So people still have books. So I'm so glad for that.
And one of the things that I was interested in, so it's very interesting to me, my book group right now is reading the book called Urban Bestiary by Linda Lynn Howe. And it's all about the urban environment for animals, how they're part city, part wild, and them coming in. And I was very interested to hear a little bit about your Everglades advocacy. So we talk about this.
Oh, I never went to the Everglades, but I heard about them. And this February, because I knew there wouldn't be that many mosquitoes, I went. And I was just overwhelmed at the vastness and the beauty of it. And I just, in my mind, I'm like, how it's the only ecosystem like that. I mean, there's ecosystems similar, but like that in the world, and how can people destroy it? And it just, my mind can't comprehend. Mm-hmm. Now, my sister goes on the springs, all the springs, and she kayaks, she volunteers, and does a lot with the springs. I've gone, and again, I see manatees and animals, and again, how are we destroying these places? This is our drinking water. We brought my mom to it was a Standing Rock in City Hall. We brought her there, and we protested, and I remember we were all chanting, "Water is life." And why don't people get that? What are our children, our grandchildren, is there going to be water? So yes, I feel like the animals, the panthers, I mean, they killed 10 panthers down in the Everglades from automobiles. Oh. So the prey to, or the predator to panthers is us. Mm. Like, why can't you slow down? I know myself, why are we rushing? Slow down and enjoy. I have this like little pond behind my house, and every morning my cat and I go out and we hear all these sounds, the cranes and the ducks and the frogs and the bugs are having parties, and we hear the owls, and it's just beautiful. Like, sit and listen, sit and look, and it's so calming and peaceful, and it's so necessary.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things I love about reading this book is, my friend who suggested it, because it talks about going in nature. It talks about raccoons.
Yes.
Just this week, I had 5 raccoons tear at my screen porch, and in the middle of the night, come out, and there's just 5 of them there. They're rolling around my spray paint and my varnish cans. They're stomping on my art things, like squishing my paint.
They were saying, Paula, wake up. Let's make art.
I know. They were like, Paula, it's time for you to paint. And I'm like, no.
I need more sleep.
Of course, they also swim in the pool because apparently I learned raccoons actually like to defecate and urinate in water.
Ooh, well, you provided a space for them.
So that's what I found out, not by reading this book, just by experience. And when we talk about the Everglades, like growing up, and I know I can be fact-checked, I'm pretty sure that the Everglades is one of the few places in the world where we both have alligators and crocodiles.
You are correct.
Because it's both freshwater and saltwater.
Yes, yes. And it amazes me, like, there's a guy on Facebook, and I forget his name, but it's like about Florida. And he says, like, Florida, we don't care about alligators, we don't care about pythons, but look at these. And a lot of people didn't know it was water, and this brown mound was moving.
Oh,
Well, yeah, but people don't know that those ants, like they're fire ants, and they go around and they move, and none of them are killing each other. They're moving so they can get ahead, And I heard that crocodiles, there's something in their front of their cortex in their brain that really makes them move and mobile more than us. I mean, the way that their body moves. And I also read, and I know I'm going to say this wrong, that our black bears, they do get pregnant, but for some reason they hold on to that until the winter, and you'll have to look it up because I explain this wrong all the time. I printed it out because I had some black bears to sell, so I printed it out. I said, you have to read this, take this when you buy it, But they will not have a baby if they're starving or if the area is not right. So they actually are controlling their own population. It's us who are developing and putting our houses and our strip malls, and even though we had a strip mall and it's dead, we're putting another one somewhere else. So we are destroying their environment, and I would love to see the animals just like take over. So
would I.
We
love animals.
I think it would be a better world, So
Well, raccoons do have opposable thumbs, which I learned when they decided to paint and party at my house, or have a paint party at my house. I think there's so much to learn, and one of the things that always drew me to some of your sculptures is they were animals, and there's beauty in nature. I know Patricia and I talk about that a lot. There's beauty in the things that we read. There's simplicity about going out and just taking your shoes off and putting your feet in the grass. And
it's primal.
It's primal, yeah. And me also being a social worker, I always talk about grounding and outside time and how do we just kind of have a moment. And I wanted to circle back when you were talking about rushing. There is a lot of rushing. One of the last couple episodes Patricia and I talked about, there is like, I called it, I'm struggling and juggling, and that's when I'm like going between, work here, caring for my mom who has Alzheimer's, who I live with, taking time to create, and sometimes it's so hard because you get so focused in this busy, like, gotta go, like, what was that old jingle? Gotta go. Oh wait, that's probably I think that's a bathroom jingle, so maybe we should put that.
But it's true, and I love how you loop nature and animals into your art practice, how there's some humanity and nature and it's this common thread throughout all the years that I've known you, and it's consistent. It's strong. You stand by your advocacy and your passion, which I really admire.
Well, somebody told me that animals don't have souls. I'm
Huh.
like, oh my gosh.
Show me that person. No,
Yeah.
don't show me
I
that
don't
person.
even
Sorry.
I can't even remember who said that to me, and I was just so taken aback. I mean, have you ever looked into their eyes, or even wild animals? Like, I have seen a panther in the wild, and they're just beautiful. I'd love to see a bobcat. I'm waiting to see a bobcat.
I believe I have some pictures that next time I can show you. The first time I left the United States, I went big, just so that you know. I got a passport and I went to school in University of Pretoria, South Africa.
Oh, nice.
And I spent time at Kruger Game Reserve, and I saw 4 of the big 5. And
Oh,
so
wow.
I have tons of pictures, and all of the guides kept saying, hey, remember, hear your prey. You're not the top of the food chain, human. And they would tell you, okay, don't be dumb and just jump between your huts at night. Don't go out running. And we're like, okay. They're like, because if you'd like, hey, I'm going to go exercise and run. They're like, oh, good. I can chase my meat.
No jogging there.
But it's a completely different environment for me.
Yes.
In my head, to be placed in a place where because one of the biggest predators is humans.
Right. Exactly.
Absolutely.
But so I actually have a picture of my last night with the bobcats. I have pictures of Pumbaa and Timon.
Oh, wow. We had, she taught at Creole Day. Her father was a veterinarian, and he used to bring animals, and we were supposed to draw them to the area, and he did bring in a tiger. And I could never paint or draw any of the animals. I was so fascinated
Laura
by them.
McHugh.
That's it. That's her name. Yep. That was her dad. And the tiger, he was telling us he was on crutches, and he said he had somebody else bring it out because the tiger would swat him because there's a weakness, And he had a deaf boy come and work, and he had to have him leave because the tiger knew that he couldn't hear him and he could sneak up on him. So, yeah, and then we had kids with us. So the kids, when the tiger came out, we had to all stand, and the kids had to stand on chairs so that we became bigger than the tiger. And we actually saw the tiger way down the street. There was a lady walking a dog, and there, that tiger focused. He was like ready. He was just so magnificent. I just couldn't get my eye. I mean, I couldn't pick up a pencil and start drawing them,
What an experience. That was at Creole Day?
No, well, she brought it to her farm. She had a big farm.
Yes, I remember
that. And she brought a bear. She brought, what else? Oh, some little animal, I forget. We could pet him because they can only be 30 pounds and under if you pet them or something. I don't know what it was.
That would be an amazing experience.
It was. It was like somebody wouldn't get up. I said, you need to get up and pet this animal. You need to feel his fur, Even the snakes, when, that wasn't at that part, but when you touch a snake or something, they're so different, than what you think you're going to feel,
Yeah, that's a hard pass for me. There's so little things that I actually have fear of, and snakes are one of them. I know 100% it's irrational. I do, but it does not matter. If I don't see it, it's fine. I can look at it over there, but I was at the Sanford Zoo once, and my husband's like, okay, we're gonna go into the snake-atarium. I don't even remember what it's called. And they had a sign where they had certain snakes that actually jump out of trees. I'm like, they jump out of trees now?
Oh.
I'm like, no, hard pass, no, I'm out, no. I'm like, this is like some Cubert snake jumping thing. So I
No, snakes are good, and I, like you, because I know you garden, because I've heard your podcast. And
Thanks for listening.
Yes, thank you for listening.
Yeah, it's fun. I garden and dig, and like snakes go right by me.
Doesn't bother you?
Not now. The first time I came to Florida, yes. Yes, I was freaked out, you know. I had to like go in and scream. So, you know, but now, no. And like sometimes I'm digging and all of these animals, like sandhill cranes, will look over my shoulders because they're looking for bugs. And I'm like, oh my God, this thing is like way above me and he's coming down, you know. But you learn that they don't care. They're just looking to eat, you know, and they're thinking you're digging up food for them.
Have you ever sculpted a snake?
No, I have not. Sandhill crane, yes.
Yeah.
Roseate spoonbill. I love those. And they do come to my pond. So,
That's nice.
yes.
I've learned that there are things that I can't plant, which break my heart. I love sunflowers. It reminds me of my dad. The two things that remind me most
Why
of my
can't
dad.
you plant them?
Because the animals gobble them up. I have planted sunflowers a total of 7 times. They have not made it more than 2 days when the animals, because where I live is very heavily populated with wildlife. 2 days, all the way down, eating the roots and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and I love it. I'm so proud. And my husband just goes, "You're trying again?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Okay." But I also have so many bees, and you know, I have.
You do. And that's like, you know, you're providing for a whole creative environment, you know, the bees and the pollinators. And, you know, I am so shocked when I see like a vinca or a coreopsis and all of a sudden they're in the backyard. Like, how did you get there, you know? And it's exciting, I think.
Wild bunnies. I had pictures this past Easter that I walked out of my front and there was a baby bunny and I see in my pollinators, they hide in there, and all of a sudden I would just see like baby wild bunnies and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have wild bunnies.
I have one too, and I thought it was a marsh bunny because that's what we have. But no, it was an eastern cottontail. It had a big cottontail.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Now I know where both of you live.
Yes.
I've been to your homes before. Now our listeners that may not know where you live, they might be thinking, are they living like on a farm? Like, are they in Geneva?
No.
Are they like,
No.
where are they?
No,
You guys
I'm
are
in
like,
Castleberry.
Yeah.
I'm in Castleberry, and we have like 0 lot lines and townhouses. But we had a golf course, and they were going to put 221 homes on it, and we fought, and now it's an environmental park. So
yeah.
so that's where a lot of the wildlife is coming from, and the Audubon has like taken trips, and we saw these like little horned owls and nesting. It's just so beautiful, and the sandhill cranes were nesting. It's just so beautiful, and you know, if anybody asked me what was my greatest contribution, that would be it, fighting for that park, because it spent 2 years just going knocking on doors and getting people to vote for the park, you know, because nobody wants to pay taxes. But you're going to pay taxes if they build 221 homes because we don't have schools for these children, you know. So, yeah, I spent 2 years knocking on 4 different developments getting that vote out. And that, I just think, you know, I can create like a masterpiece artwork. I don't know when, but but you know, that would not equal that park, you know. And it has 53 acres of water.
Yep.
And it goes to our drinking water. So, and no fertilizer was used at the golf course because I think that man was just going to use it to sell and make money. So,
No, I mean, and I live right on the other side of you
okay.
because I live in Winter Springs.
Oh, okay.
I live, near the park.
Okay.
And one of the reasons, like, when we picked Winter Springs, which I've learned a lot, is we can't cut our own trees down. We have to get a Winter Springs certified arborist before we can cut or pull down trees.
That's wonderful, yes.
Both of the areas that we reside in, there is a lot of nature. There's a lot of trail paths. I think I mentioned one time before, the local parks services used to have, I've been on a forest bathing walk because they did it
That's
before the
great.
pandemic. But, you know, outside of just nature, when we're talking about parks, I do believe that you and Cheryl both did some work about Martin Luther King Jr. Park.
Yes, I think it's called the Unity Park now. Yes.
Okay.
And we did not do anything with the bronze. The bronze was already at American Bronze in Sanford. I only got to see it before it was put into place by bringing Andrew up, the artist, Andrew Liu, to Sanford to see it. And that was the first time he had seen it. And then when they patinaed it, that was even better, because it brings it to life with the color and the colors that stand up, like the bronze, and then that goes back and gets the greenish color. And I think they did the tie. But yes, we had worked really hard on it in 95-degree weather. We had to jack up the benches and put cement under it, the granite, because it came from China. He tried to get it from Georgia, but the person didn't deliver, so he got it from China. So some of the granite came off, and we had to cement that. We had to get it in place. Some of the lettering, he wanted us to paint it white, and I said, no, But some of it you had to, because it just was not as deep. But I was taken back because the eminent domain, he had the list of the families that lost their land in Winter Park to eminent domain. And some of those people were there, and some of those people, it was right where that park was. So it was just so meaningful. And it was so meaningful because Martin Luther King's quotes. And to know, like in the 60s, you saw him and walking, it was just like so beautiful to just sit there. I know there's controversy, and like everybody, I know like Taylor Swift sings of it, but there is no controversy if you really look at it and think, yeah, maybe the head's a little big, but that's where he's talking from. That's where his thoughts are from. That's what he's speaking to. He's speaking to us, And he was so peaceful, And then he has his hand up. Well, I'm thinking he has his hand up to greet us. But also, I don't know about the afterlife, but let's say there is a heaven. He's greeting those people that helped him through that way. And now he can greet John Lewis. So that's what that really reminded me of. And his shoes. Who is going to take over Martin Luther King? Who can stand in those shoes? Who is going to be our hero? Because we really need a hero, So I look at that and I'm saying, okay, you're criticizing, but could you do a 9-foot, statue? Could you bring that love? Because Andrew and his partner, Anne, they put so much love and care into that. And I just think, people move on, just get a life.
I can't wait to go visit it.
We have to go and get coffee and just sit there.
We should. I remember you guys texting me, I think it was Cheryl, and saying, hey, do you have any glass containers? They melted because of the heat. So I was running down there. I was so proud of you guys. They were in this heat, in this dust. They have the artists, and people from the city were coming in. And I'm like, oh my God, these are my friends. I was so proud of you guys to be part of that. And yes, there's always going to be a critic. There's always going to be a complainer.
It's easy to complain.
Especially in the arts.
Or question.
Yeah.
That's why I bring this little cat in, because somebody said to me, why? And I'm like, why not? This cat, I get aluminum foil, masking tape, and then put epoxy over it. But when I'm doing the aluminum foil and tape, I get such joy. I see a personality forming, and I'm hysterical.
Listeners, it's not a real cat, by the way.
Oh, yes. No, these are little epoxy cats that I make in animals. But
they're adorable.
We'll put pictures on Instagram.
Yeah, they're not they're in reels and different things, all the things that, we do. So, yeah, I think it's so much fun, and you have to enjoy what you're doing. And if somebody complains, move on, there's other art studios, go visit.
I love your feistiness too. She's so zen, but man, it's
oh yeah. No, you have to stand up. That's my mantra now. The people united will never be divided. Oh. That is my mantra. We just have to stand together. Yes, definitely. So
Well, one, I do love the cat.
Thank
I have
you.
3 beautiful cats. One of them's a
Excellent.
mini panther, black cat.
Oh, love them.
Each of my cats have their very own personality.
Yes, they do.
So, I love the nature, and then when you talk about that, it just makes me think of that. But, we're kind of talking about the 60s and
Oh, gosh.
movements, and
Yes.
you have an upcoming exhibition on the 60s, don't
Yes.
you, that you're
So-
going to be part of?
Yes, and Patricia too.
Yes.
Celebration of the 60s. It's going to be at City Arts September 18th, but here's the fun part of it. Dress up. Dress up. You can be mod, wear your little miniskirts and go-go boots, or you can be hippie with your bell bottoms and beads and whatever.
Love it.
But there are 3 prizes, and everybody, who attends can be participating in that. And there is so much about the 60s that I grew up in the 60s. So, when I was talking to people about it, I went through high school, senior year. We never wore pants. We had to wear dresses and skirts. Well, we all decided, all the girls, that we were going to bring our bell bottoms in. And we wore skirts, and we put them under, and we took off our skirts, and that was the first time at Roosevelt High School in Yonkers, New York, 1969, that we wore pants. And they were going to tell us all to go home. Then they did not, of course.
See,
So-
even back then,
Well, I didn't organize it,
Oh, okay.
but
Not
yeah,
this one.
yeah, not this one. And it was just like, you couldn't, as a woman, I told the people that we were talking at City Arts, I'm not going back. You couldn't get a credit card, you couldn't get your own house, you had to get married, My father said, no, you're not going to college, you're a girl, you'll get married. No, I don't fight with my father. I just, in my head, I said, it was 9th grade, I said, I am going to go to work and I'm going to college, and it's not just being a teacher or a nurse, you could be a doctor or an astronaut. So that is, it was such a great time, it means change. It means, and it was peace. It was like nonviolent, and it was just a great place to be. And because I was so near New York City, we were always the weekend we go down to Central Park. There was always something going on.
Yeah.
I remember my dad was World War II. We brought home protest things. He's like, "You guys are communists. Get out of here."
I met your dad. He was so funny. And your mom.
Yes.
I could hear him saying that.
Yes, he was so, because they were talking about Agent Orange, and, so he couldn't take it, but it was fun. It was fun. So that's going to be 4:30 to 9, and September 18th is the opening, and everybody, we have artists that are doing the art during that time. We have artists doing the, like I did the fists and the peace sign and slogans. So I think it's going to be fun and a learning experience.
I'm very interested in going.
Good,
My
you
mom,
have to come.
My mom was big 60s, and I can't remember if it was just me or if I had a sidekick for this grounding, but I did something I wasn't supposed to in high school, and my mother was unique punishment, and she grounded me to the living when VH1 did their live recorded thing of the live Woodstock.
Oh.
And I was grounded in the living room to watch the whole thing of Woodstock with my mother for her recounting like the 60s and the march, and I'm like, hey, why are they shaking? She's like, don't look at that. And I'm like, oh, drugs, okay. And, but like that was like.
Yeah, there's a lot of good for the 60s, and yes, it's like Charles Dickens, it's the worst of times and the best of times, So, yes. Because,
but the music.
Yeah, the music, Jimi Hendrix and
Yes.
Janis Joplin, the Stones, the Beatles.
The Doors.
The Doors, the Animals. I know a lot of people forget them, and the Loving Spoonful.
Yeah.
It was just so much fun. But I was telling somebody we saw the assassinations on TV. We never saw anybody killed on TV, and I was in 7th grade when John Kennedy got killed.
Mm-hmm.
So that was mind-blowing, and then things just erupted because, we had no leaders, and it was a horrible thing.
Well, one of the things that I think just really beautiful and gut punched. My husband and I went to Memphis, and we were just walking, and you walk around the corner, and you walk in, and there's the Lorraine. But the thing that I thought was so interesting is the building across from the Lorraine is a civil rights museum now.
Right.
And that you can go up, and they have the whole room set up where you could actually see in for the sharpshooter, and they have the room preserved. And, as I said, I think every generation has like leaders and voices and things that propel us forward, and I think it's great, but to also give respect to our past.
Yes.
The
Yes.
60s.
Absolutely. And I just love how the arts just kind of catapult or loop all of that in.
It does.
It does. It
absolutely
really does. It's just kind of like the vehicle that just keeps on.
It kind of grows with society.
It does.
And mimics like society because we're so fast and whatever.
All right. So besides this exhibit, you have another exhibit coming up in November that you'll be showing
Yes.
at, correct?
Likeness and Legacy, and it's at the Perfect Union at the Oak Mills.
West Oaks Mall.
West Oaks Mall, there you go. And yes, and I think there's about maybe 5 of us, and that's November 14th. And that's about women, and that's about like famous women and strong women, and I think I have like 3 or 4 sculptures for that. So
Fascinating.
yeah, and they're different. And I kind of combine 2 mediums, so it's been interesting.
So no paintings in that one, just for
No
sculpture.
paintings. I have 1 painting in City Arts.
Okay.
But it's kind of like photographs and paintings. So
Also, we can stop by and visit you on first Friday and Saturday at Favo.
yes, right here, 2 doors from where we're filming, 149, and I have a roommate with me, Diane Martins, that we share the studio. So it's always fun, and we are both interested in the environment, but we both are very diverse and different painters. She paints in oils, and her skyscapes are amazing, and then I do all these other crazy things, swingers and animals, and then also paint. So, and that's where we did the Everglades, where we both painted the same photograph, but different because we're different.
Although you're both diverse in your styles and medium, it works. Your studio is very beautiful and
Thank you.
yeah, it's lovely.
Thank you.
And I think congratulations are in order too, with your new space with Cheryl Cuellar. Tell us about that. This just happened.
Yes, this just happened, and getting stuff ready and doing labels, Mercantile. And it's over in Ultimate Springs. It really was started for antiques and vintage, but artists started to go in there because think about it, it's open all 7 days a week, and people are selling it for you. But you do go now first Thursdays. So first Thursdays you can go over to Mercantile and I'll be there, and then you can come over here the first Friday and Saturday and I'll be here. So at Favo.
Yeah.
So
And when will that officially be open for you and Cheryl?
Probably sometime this week because
wow.
tomorrow we're supposed to do our lights and start hanging, and I think she's over there hanging. So
she'll have her beautiful paintings and cards.
she has painting, cards, earrings. Yeah,
I can't wait to see you and John and several of our friends.
And John is over there, yes. And John had my swingers, so now my swingers are coming to my space.
So, on social media, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Marsha DeBroske. You can find me on Facebook, Sculpt DeBroske, or you can find me on TikTok, Marsha DeBroske. And of course, my website, mdebroske.com.
So now we get to put you in the hot seat. It's
Okay.
our lightning question round.
Okay.
All right. Would you rather cuddle a koala or pal around with a panda?
Pal around with a panda.
If you could buy a billboard, what would you write on it?
I would write something about the environment, probably like water is life, be thoughtful or something. I don't know, really.
That's 2 billboards. I like that.
Yeah, well,
Let's do it.
if you're going to buy a billboard, you may as well buy a couple, right?
Love it.
All right. In life, would you rather have a pause button or a rewind button?
Maybe a pause. No rewind.
No rewind.
What foreign country would you love to be stranded in?
Wow, I love it. I taught, so every summer I would go somewhere, and I love every country I ever visited. But maybe like Greece, because they have islands and all kinds of different terrain if you go north. So maybe Greece, and of course it's hot. I like hot.
And you're a New Yorker. I don't get
I
that.
know. I say the stork just dropped me because he got tired, and I was in Yonkers, New York.
All right. If you were in a circus, what would your job be?
Taking care of the animals.
Last one. What was your least favorite food as a child? Do you still hate it or do you love it now?
Eggs, and I hate it.
Still hate them?
I still hate them. I don't like the smell either.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, don't like them.
All right. Marsha, thank you so much for taking some time to have this conversation with Patricia. It has been such a great time with
It's
you.
been so much fun to be with both of you. And I hope we get our coffee and go and sit
Absolutely.
with Martin Luther King.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's go have
Let's
coffee
do
and
that.
sit with Marty.
Yeah.
Sit with Marty, put our feet in the grass, and let the world just kind of pass us by.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you, everyone.
The Painted City is recorded live from Favo Studios.
Our producers, Patricia Byron and Paula Lupton.
Our director and engineer is Sir Charles.
Want a chance to win some beautiful greeting cards from artist Cheryl Quayer? Check her out on episode 4 to hear our insightful chat. Follow us on social media and go to the giveaway post. Share this to your story for an added bonus. Find Cheryl on Instagram at QuayrCreative. This is a one-time giveaway, and the results will be in by the end of September. Good luck. We appreciate you listening to the Painted City Podcast. Stay connected with us and join the conversation at the Painted City Podcast on social media. Share your thoughts, ask us questions, and be part of our growing community. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what's coming up next.